And next up at UFC Sacramento, we've got Wes Schultz taking on Jackson McVey. And let's start off with Jackson McVey. Obviously very big for the weight class at 6'4". Obviously had success recently inside the UFC, but the problem to me is that he is very much first round or bust. He loves to be able to get you in that tie clinch up against the fence, really pull down on the neck and slam knees into the midsection. He loves those close in elbows, and that tie clinch is really his bread and butter. The problem is I think out on the feet he can be a little bit stiff, and I do think he has a vulnerability to being taken down and controlled. In steps party time Wes Schultz here, and that's why I'm going to be picking Wes Schultz in this matchup. He is a relentless grappler, a former Division III wrestler, and I think he comes in here and plays spoiler as a slight underdog. I think Wes Schultz, we've seen in previous matchups that he has had some success against very big, very tall, athletic guys. Even if you go back to the Contender Series where he fought against Abdul Malik, where he did have success reversing position, slamming some elbows, landing in transition, and ultimately getting the fight to the ground where he needs it to be. Whether you want to say that Malik, kind of victory aged well or not is up to you, but at the end of the day, McVey is not a world beater, and when it comes to the grappling, I do think that he lacks, and I do think after the first round, he considerably slows down, and Wes Schultz, even though he was able to pull off that third round guillotine in his last bout, I do think that he is a guy that doesn't quit on himself. He's a guy that's going to continue to go for the game plan, which is to be able to get the fight to the ground, get into some sort of transition or scramble, and snatch up the neck and go for the submission. And I think that McVey, out of his two losses, both being by submission, is definitely an easy candidate for another Wes Schultz submission victory, in my opinion. Both guys lack in the striking. There's no doubt about that. I do give the slight edge in power and obviously the edge in reach in terms of overall sort of tall man striking in the edge to McVey. But I think as the fight goes on, we're going to see Schultz being able to drag this one to the ground. I think he's going to be able to kind of weather an early storm here against McVey, where McVey comes out very aggressive early in the first. And I think Schultz is going to get this one to the ground. If you go back and watch the Reese fight, the Zachary Reese fight with McVey, Zachary Reese was able to come out in the second round and get such an easy takedown. And in the late first round as well, he had no effort when it came to being able to defend that takedown. And I think Wes Schultz can come in here, be able to get into the clinch, reverse position, dive in on those legs, suck out those legs, get into a dominant position on the ground, and start looking for his submission game. And I think the problem with McVey isn't just his one round or bust. It's that he seems like a fish out of water once the fight hits the ground and he's on his back. He doesn't seem to be having any sort of defensive opportunities. He seems to be very lost on the ground. And I think if you're lost on the ground, that Wes Schultz is going to find you. So give me Wes Schultz here to pull off the submission victory in the second round. I do think he's got to be careful early in the first because McVey is very aggressive, but give me Wes Schultz, party time, former dog of the week here to play spoiler and get this one done. Let's see who Carlos has got in this matchup.
Okay, in this one, I'm going to go with Wes Schultz to get it done because McVey, he does come out aggressive, comes out of the blocks hot. The pace that he pushes is very difficult to keep up with. His fight with Zachary Reese, he had him hurt, was beating him up in the first round. Second round, Reese was able to turn it around, and that's what I think Wes Schultz is going to do here. He is durable. He can take a shot, and I feel that he's going to use his wrestling in the second round to probably get him to the mat, force him to keep working, having to work through the wrestling, having to work in the clinch. And I feel in the second round he's probably going to get a second round submission finish. So Wes Schultz to get this one done.